Hey folks, welcome back. Episode 17 of the Get a Grip on Life podcast. On today's show, we have Eman Bachani. Who is Eman Bachani? Well, she's a young female entrepreneur. She launched Meraki Design House, which is a lifestyle e-commerce company that combines Eastern design into Western life, really artisan-y art stuff, and it makes it available to the modern woman. Ooh. She was also a G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance ambassador. So she's traveling around the world. She started her own company. She's getting it going, man. I like that. Fun to talk to her. So Eman, great to have you on the show. Remember, folks, I'm in Get a Grip Studios. Go to getagripstudios.com if you want to start your own podcast. Good place to start. Or you can go to iTunes. If you're not interested in starting your own podcast, go to iTunes and review us. Why are you going to do that? Because there's $50 on the table for the best review. That's right. Matt will just pick the one he likes the best, and he's going to send you an Amazon gift card. That's right. But for right now, we're going to go episode 17 with Eman Bachani on the Get a Grip on Life podcast. Welcome to the Get a Grip on Life podcast, Eman Bachani.
Bachani, thank
you. Bachani, I was just about to ask you if I pronounced it right.
I got you before. But no, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Good. It's a pleasure for me as well. Where did you go to school?
I went to University of Toronto, St. George. Before there's any confusion, we're very proud of our little downtown campus. So I studied political science and HR. Okay. And it was an amazing 4 years.
So you went to, I got to get into this real quick here. So like the different U of T campuses are statuses, like there's like.
Yeah, if you go to St. George, you're automatically number one. Like we are the number one school. So we're very proud of our campus and our downtown location. And a lot of the times UTM and UT Scarborough try taking away the spotlight from us, but we're very careful about it.
Okay, so that's is that like a legit statistical thing, or is that just like an inter-U of T battle?
It's both.
Oh, it's both. Okay, so that all the smart people are downtown.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. I thought they were at Queens.
Did you go to Queens?
Yeah, for a little bit. Tell me about working at the Pan Am Games. So what did you do for them?
So that was a very cool experience. So I finished university. It was before I graduated, and I was looking for something to do in HR. And there was a Pan Am Games in Toronto that year, right? Which was exciting, and I'd never worked in anything like that before, let alone in anything sports based, because I don't really have much interest in sports. I didn't know it was such a big deal even until I know how much money the city's invested in it. And so I got an interview, and we were working, and I was in HR. So the Pan Am Game was a big employer that summer. And I wanted to work in recruiting, and I wasn't involved in that aspect, but I was looking into coordinating and taking care of all the kitchen staff and help. So my office was based in the Athletes Village, which was near Distillery District. Okay. They had built it up just for the Pan Am Games, and there was hundreds of employees working there 24 hours. So I was a 24-hour operation, at least the kitchen, laundry, dishwashing, all the help staff. Okay. And I was there on rotations from morning till afternoon to night. And then
how was your human resource? Like, what were you doing, working on what as a human resource?
So when employees didn't show up, I was looking for new employees.
Oh, okay.
May it be 10 p.m., may it be 1 a.m. We were a 24-hour operation, as we said. So I was like on the BlackBerry calling up like backups. I was making sure everything was okay. It was very cool. I learned a lot about people because it was my first experience in HR. Like in a bigger organization, but also in such a fast-paced setting because everything had to be done right away. It was a very small period of time that we were doing this. And there's a lot of cool things. I saw athletes training at like 4 a.m.
I was going to say, did you meet any of the athletes? Did you have any chance to meet
I
any of them?
didn't meet them, but I saw a lot of them training in the early hours of the morning because there was a point where I was working from midnight till 7 a.m.
Okay, cool.
So there was a lot of walking around to keep yourself up. And a lot of stealing golf carts to kind of just go around the village, which is really, really fun. Okay. But yeah, there were a lot of athletes working out. So there was a little bit of like looking and seeing here and there, and they were like South Americans, so very good looking.
Oh, okay. So now the truth comes out. Okay. So you're looking at the handsome South American dudes doing running or whatever.
Yeah, they're like stretching in the morning.
They'll stretch and say, "Hey, how's it going?" I don't blame you. Why not? Tell me about Meraki Design House. What is that? Am I pronouncing it right first?
Meraki, yeah. So I started. So while I was at Pan Am, there was a few periods in my life where I was like really thinking about what I want to do, whether I want to work for someone else. I did want to work for someone else, but I didn't want to fully commit to it. Like I wanted that flexibility. And anyway, so there was a lot of time during Pan Am, especially late at night, where I was just doing nothing. If something wasn't going wrong, I wasn't really doing much. And I was reading books. I had always had a book with me. I was reading books about entrepreneurs. And this is when Sophia Amoruso became really famous with Girl Boss. And I was just really obsessed with reading about her and her interviews and whatnot.
We did a recording with her the other day.
Oh, really? Is that what she was in
not with
town?
her here. We were hired to do something on location with another person.
Yeah, the studio, not me.
Oh.
The studio was chatting with her, yeah.
She was just in Toronto lately, so...
Yeah, Matt was down, recorded a podcast with
I
her.
wish
yeah.
I wish I had known.
Well, you know,
So
Matt gets to meet a lot of
cool.
crazy, fun
I
people. We
will
can't
be
talk
in touch
about
with
all
Matt
that. Yeah.
after this too. So, and that's when like the idea was very cool. And so I've grown up in different parts of the world. So before coming to Canada, I used to live in the Philippines, and I've grown up all over Pakistan and traveled a lot. My parents' job kind of kept us out a lot. And
So you're ethnically Pakistani, but
And-
your father traveled for business and you traveled with
Yes.
him with the family. Okay.
Yes, so we did a lot of that. And during these travels, I've kind of like hoarded things in my closet that I've integrated into my closet, things that are that don't come from a mall but are handmade or handcrafted or are that represent the local culture of where they're made. And so I always wear these shoes, and everyone would always ask me. I went away to Quebec to learn French, and everyone would ask me about them. And wherever I went, people were asking. And I was like, hey, I've never seen them before. Like, there's so many cultural products that are technically being exported and kind of just sent out to different parts of the world, but these shoes never made it out, and they're literally the most comfortable shoes I have. I have 50 plus pairs of shoes, and I only wear the most comfortable ones, the top 5, and these were all like the 5. And so I went back to Pakistan as soon as Pan Am finished.
These shoes were from Pakistan.
They were from Pakistan, yes.
Okay.
So they're inherently related to South Asia. They're made in different parts.
What are they called?
They're in like depends. So
Okay.
so it's very culturally sensitive, because in India they're called something else, in Bangladesh
I
they're
get
called
it,
something
I
else,
get
in
it,
Pakistan
okay.
they're called something else.
But it's Southeast Asian kind of a
Yes.
thing.
So they're handcrafted leather flats, and I love them. Everyone I knew who wore them loved them, but I'd never seen them before. So I go back to Pakistan right after Pan Am Games, and I started meeting people who make them. They are handcrafted. So I meet with people who make them in bulk, make like one at a time, people who hand paint them, and I spent like a good 2 months doing that. And I knew I wanted to do that. It wasn't called...
You wanted to make the shoes?
I wanted to make the shoes, but I didn't want to make them in a traditional way that you would get them in Pakistan or in that subcontinent, but in a way where you could wear them with just about anything. So if you look at the line right now, it has styles that you could wear with jeans. It has styles that you could take with you to a Christmas party. You take your heels off and you can dance in them because they are comfortable at the end of the day. And they're so versatile. You can use them for anything. So that became into what is now Meraki. And it's almost been 2 years, and we're working on a bunch of different projects, but...
So that was the idea that started Meraki.
Yes.
But what is Meraki exactly then?
Meraki is an online boutique
Okay.
that redesigns traditional crafts from different parts of the world.
Okay.
And by redesigning them, we make them fit for the life and the home of a modern woman.
Of the Western world.
Of the Western world, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So you started off with these artisanal shoes from Pakistan. Pakistan, you said.
Pakistan, yes.
Pakistan. And is that what it's called?
Pakistan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like India and Pakistan were all one place and then were chopped up.
Yeah. The British really messed that up.
Yeah. So, but I mean, was it always called Pakistan before that?
It was... No, it wasn't. Pakistan is what it is now since 1947. Actually, it was the National Day 2 days ago.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's been Pakistan then. It means the land of pure.
Okay.
Pak means pure, and yeah.
Stan is land. Yeah, sure. Okay. So then so you have the shoes from Pakistan. is it mostly South Asian stuff, or is there other areas?
So the shoes come from Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. So I started exploring. Yes, they're
So
made
what are the
same
different
way.
names? Give me the 3 different names.
They all look the same, so you wouldn't be able to tell where they come from.
I know, but I want to know. Do you know the names?
So, yeah, of course. So in Pakistan we call them kusas.
Kusas,
In India we call them jutis.
jutis.
And in Bangladesh they call them what is it called? It's called negri or something like
Negri,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's all the same thing. It's
Yeah.
handcrafted leather.
It looks exactly the same.
Is it like a
and
loafer?
It is a flat. It has a back. We make loafers as
Is it
well.
for women and men or just women?
We don't make them for men, but
Oh.
both can wear them.
Okay.
I know that Paul Smith made the sandals, the Pakistani Peshawari sandals, really famous a few years ago.
Okay.
And there's a lot of rage about it because in Pakistan you can get them for like $20, and he was selling them for like £200.
Okay.
So these products, they weren't touched
Don't hate
by
the
that
player,
yet.
hate the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I'm in the game now.
So what other? So you got a lot of stuff at Meraki from South Asian.
Yeah,
South
so
Asia. What else?
We
you got?
we used to do some shell, mother of pearl shell clutches. I sold a lot privately from the Philippines. Also handcrafted, higher price point. Sold them privately mainly because they were higher price point. And the supply wasn't as amazing just because they're made out of shells. And if it's not a good season for picking shells, you don't have the products coming. So I didn't like that aspect of it. We still do. We work with a couple in Ecuador who hand bead these statement necklaces.
Okay.
So we have those and we sell them around Toronto. And now I'm actually working on a project in Bangladesh where it's kind of a double impact project. It's not a wearable. We're doing a home product where we're supporting women from marginalized backgrounds, divorcees who've been taught how to sew and stitch.
In Bangladesh.
In Bangladesh, yes. And then what we're going to be doing, it should be a surprise, but what we're going to be doing is bringing these products to Canada, and we're going to be doing a buy one, give one. So you'll just have to find out what the product is.
Buy one and then give one.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So you have to give
But
one to
it's
a friend or to give one to charity, or what is it?
we're giving them to shelters and refugee homes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So so you've referenced women a lot. Okay, you talked about a women entrepreneur. You talked about helping women in Bangladesh. Unpack that a little bit for me. So there's something about being a woman that's important to you. Do you identify first as an entrepreneur? You're like, I'm a female entrepreneur, or I'm a young entrepreneur, or what is it that you're identifying with there?
I'm a young female entrepreneur.
Okay, all three. Okay.
In Sophia Amoruso's world, I'm a potential girl boss.
Potential girl boss. Okay.
So yeah, no, it honestly, I have like a day job as well. Not a day job, but that's also another business that I work in and I contribute to. And I've seen that women do not have the advantages that men do. Like, it's so unfortunate that I actually have to experience it. And a young female definitely does not have the opportunities and the kind of positive experiences that a man does. It just doesn't.
Are you talking about an older man? Or are you talking about a man that's, how old are you? 21?
25.
25? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so are you saying about a young woman doesn't have the same opportunities as a man that's 25, or are you saying a man that's 35?
A man that's 35, 45.
Well, that's normal. I mean,
if you're in the
that's
same
normal.
position, then is it?
If you're
in an equal footing, I've been told so many times, go get my manager, and I am the manager.
Yeah, I mean, that's different. I mean that you're talking about public perception of who you are. You look younger than you are. So I don't think that's a female thing. I could be wrong, but I'm wondering, like, if the situation as an entrepreneur, are you inspired more by female entrepreneurs than you would be by male entrepreneurs, or is it the story that inspires you?
It's the story, but I am as inspired by male entrepreneurs. Like, just to give you an example, I know I keep talking about Sophia Amoruso, but
Yeah.
I listen to everyone's stories. I'm very interested in hearing other people's tipping points, their experiences, bad journeys, good parts in the bad journeys, and like the more inspiring ones have been men. I'm really, really inspired by Joe Gebbia of Airbnb.
Yeah.
I've literally heard every podcast that he's interviewed on.
Well, he's an interesting guy, first of all.
Yeah.
Like he captures an audience.
I really want to learn how to think like him. I really do.
Yeah, well, it takes time, and you have to learn.
It's coming.
Right. So I think that, I mean, a lot of people, I think there's an issue in our society with people looking beyond what the actual problem is to something greater. And I think that a lot of times those connections aren't there. And I have 3 daughters, so I think about this a lot. And I think a lot of people assume something that's not there. I think it's safe to say that most people don't care that much about you or about me in their daily lives. They're not trying to actively do anything. I think it's better to look for inspiration rather than look for, different things like that. But I heard that a little bit, and I find that those things become like baggage with people, with entrepreneurs. I've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't think you should. I think you should just go after your own.
I mean, that's what one has to do, right?
Right.
You kind of tune everything else out.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah,
you just do what you have to do, and eventually you'll start getting yeses, and eventually there'll be less no's. And
yeah, I find that a lot of people are. On the last podcast I did, I found a lot of people are talking about, winners don't know why they won, but losers have a lot of reasons why they lost.
Yeah. Yeah, that
you know what I mean?
sense.
It's like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a young woman, I'm this, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm I don't have an education, I do have an education, Some of it's luck, some of it's hard work, some of it's intelligence, and you got to put it all together.
Right.
Timing too.
Yeah, I guess, you know what? It's also very different from society to society.
Sure.
And, maybe like I'm placing the emphasis in the wrong places, but, I come from Pakistan, and the way, and, the part of society that I belong to, things come easy. And now we're in Canada, and equality is significantly higher. Like, you go to see a doctor here and you wait in line like everyone else. You don't pay more just so you can see the doctor in 20 minutes and peace out, right? And
so you're saying the
stratus
of Pakistani society allows for benefits to accrue to the people at the top.
For sure.
At a rate that's much higher than would be considered acceptable in the West?
Yes. I totally agree with that.
So you don't like that about Pakistan, or you like it?
I sometimes miss it. I sometimes miss being able to have easier access to opportunities.
Sure.
I love.
Is there a
doing
caste system in Pakistan like there is in India?
No. It's always implicit.
It's
but
informal. It's not formal.
Yeah,
like
there
India.
aren't like strats.
There's no untouchables.
No,
whatever.
No.
Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting because an aristocratic or a close to aristocratic life can be extremely comfortable, and it can be addictive if you have enough wealth. And, who cares if I spend an extra $100 because it doesn't matter to me that much. I'd rather just be moving on with my life.
Yeah, but once you taste freedom, and that society and that lifestyle comes with a lot of restraints as well, and a lot of dependence on other things and other people, and other people doing things for you, right? And so, but that dependence is not freedom at all. So when you step out, especially over here, when you're able to do everything on your own, you don't have that dependence, and that freedom, I think, is worth way more than that lifestyle.
I totally 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But so it sounds like you have a lot of experience for someone that's 25. Like that's actually that's a big thing to say, to comment on. And, hey, in Pakistan we were very wealthy, and this is how the one. It's you meet people that you sound like an expat who worked in Indonesia in the 1960s and lived on a compound. And they talk like that.
But in the Philippines, I did live in a compound, and my father was an expat, and I did have like a lot of privilege. I went to an international school. My classmates were all like children of politicians and the bigwigs, and that was my formative years. So I did have that lifestyle, but when I started university, it was very, very different. I was doing everything. I was working through university the whole time. And before that, the concept of work, like if I had spoken to any of my classmates, the concept of working part-time before you actually start your career was not actually a real thing. It was just something someone else does, not something that you do.
Work?
Part-time?
What are you talking about? I have to go on my yacht. When are you going to yacht?
Actually.
Yeah, when you actually go, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's interesting that you have that experience, but then you appreciate the other side of it. Is there something that you're wary of when you see that? Does it something bother you? Okay, maybe I can give you a parallel example. So obviously I'm from the West, so I live in a wealthy society, but there's a level of equality we have. But I'm uncomfortable when I go to some places in the Caribbean, say, and I stay at a resort, and I don't get the feeling that the people that work in the resort are really paid fairly, or you get that feeling. Is it the same feeling for you sometimes?
When I go back to Pakistan, it's nice, but it's also very not nice that you know, you have someone who is fetching you a glass of water every time you're thirsty, and someone who picks up after you. And, you know, sometimes you're just lazy and you want like your laundry to be folded and ironed and your bed to be made. It's very nice. It feels like a vacation, but on a day-to-day basis, I feel like I don't think I'd be able to do it. And, you know, you have someone who comes to you with like a cup of tea every couple of hours without you asking, setting up the table for you, driving you from place to place, is ready at your beck and call to do whatever that needs to be done. It sounds nice from afar. It's a nice like vacation feel to it, but to be able to live like that, I feel very uncomfortable. I would rather keep that plate myself, go get my water myself, not have to wait for someone to kind of drive me around, or it's weird.
And then there's the issue of women in that society as well.
Yeah.
Is there not? Because you've often, as we talked about on this podcast, it's been,
It's a conservative society. You know, you have to dress a certain way, and you, at certain times of the day, you should not be I mean, it's best not to be alone. I've not had a bad experience. But
is that because there's danger to you, like physical danger?
There's always a chance for danger, right?
Well, there's a chance for danger for women in Canada to be.
Yes, that is true.
Right?
I've
but
seen
is
that
there
more
more danger in Pakistan? I'm gonna get it right.
You never know.
Pakistan.
I haven't been exposed to it. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been exposed to it, but I know that it's not entirely safe for women to be out and about. And you know, it's a very like I might be painting a picture that's not entirely accurate because I no longer live there, and I haven't lived there since the last 10 years. And you know, everyone does everything. So the things that you can't imagine being done over there, like people are still partying, people are still doing drugs, and it's very open, right? But with that said, you know, there is a level of society that is seeing that, and there's Muslim fundamentalists, and you just don't know. You just don't know what happens. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Wow. We went down a little rabbit hole here, eh? Holy mackerel.
You took away from my Meraki spotlight.
Yeah, I know. We're going to go back. We're going to go right back into it because, I don't know, you didn't go down these rabbit holes or whatever every now and then. Tell me more about, so you have these artisanal crafts. You say it's a website. Can people purchase through the website this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's primarily e-commerce, but I noticed that people at the beginning, and like that's totally understood, we're skeptical because it's a handmade product, so you don't know how it fits and you don't know how it feels. And to be very honest, like I'm really proud of this fact. So the shoe actually molds itself to your feet. So as you wear it, it's a very different shopping experience because, you know, I've shopped for heels and whatnot, and when I'm at the store, they look great, and I love them, and I'm so confident.
Sure.
And then I wear them out, and they're killing my feet.
Yeah, that happens to my wife all the time.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And so with these flats, they're so weird at the beginning. Like, you know, you feel like they feel snug and you feel weird, but then as they open up and they mold to your feet, they're literally the most comfortable pair of shoes you can wear. And this is feedback that we've gotten from a lot of customers.
I feel like people would want to see these and feel them in a store.
Yes, which is why what we do now, or what we started doing, was we were traveling at pop-ups and craft markets and Christmas markets, and I've done the first year I was not really sure how to go about it because I was still learning and the deadlines had passed.
Sure.
Who knew there was like a year-long wait list for pop-ups and whatnot? But they are. So last year,
certain markets, I guess, for sure.
So now,
so you have physical inventory here.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have a lot of inventory here. So we ship out of our warehouse here in Mississauga. And then we're doing pop-ups through the year, more so in the latter part of the year. So right now we're looking at a full calendar from August to December. And it's going to get
Is it all
fuller.
weekend, or is there a lot of stuff during the week?
Most of it is weekend.
Okay.
For example, I'm going next week to Festival Mode at Design in Montreal.
Okay.
So that's going to be weekends both. And that's our first time in Montreal. But to be honest, we do a lot of these shows outside the GTA. So I've noticed that the consumers are very receptive outside the cities, and I really love that experience because it makes us feel so appreciated. People actually love the product. They're not comparing it to some Aritzia shoe they saw at the mall. Did you say Aritzia? Aritzia.
I actually know these stores a little bit because I have 3 girls, so I know them.
Yeah, so we stay away
Aritzia.
from the
Okay.
Aritzia palettes and whatnot,
sure.
but the consumers outside the cities really, really appreciate the product. They really value it. We get a lot of great
Sure.
feedback.
How much
and
is the
it's-
average pair of these?
Our goal is to stay under $100. So
Okay.
there's 2 price points. We do $69 for a printed or a plain pair of flats,
Mhm.
and then we do $89 for a hand work done, like beaded or embellished flat.
Sure.
So, but we're always gonna be under $100.
Do you do children's shoes?
No, but we do custom. So we're not there for children, but we do custom in case people want matching shoes for them and their daughters. We do custom bridal, custom bridesmaids, gifting. We do a lot of something blue shoes for weddings.
What's our blue? What is blue shoes?
You know how like in weddings you have your something old, something new. So
something
something blue,
Yes.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
So we have a lot of flexibility in what we can make. So we can do a lot of custom, and we do end up doing a lot of custom.
Wow.
So that's really fun.
So what percentage of the business is e-commerce, and what percentage is a fair and sort of people? Because I'm like, I could see my wife and I walking through a fair and then buying a pair of
Maybe
these
you
for
should
her.
come to one of ours.
I think I'm going to actually for sure. I want to check it out, but I don't know if it's something I would order online unless I knew what it was.
Yeah, so a lot of
Like after I bought my first pair, my wife bought her first pair. She might buy the second pair from you guys.
Yeah, that's how a lot of our e-commerce businesses is repeat sales or referrals. We do have this guarantee of size exchange and size return, so we take care of that completely. In case they don't feel the way you want them to feel. So we do a lot of international shipping as well. For international shipping, it gets tricky with like double customs and whatnot.
For sure, double duty.
And so thankfully we haven't had any problems yet for that.
So you're shipping into the United States, I guess.
Yeah, we send a lot of orders to United States, but also really random places like Poland and Mauritius and Singapore.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like our traffic comes from a lot of really different places.
Yeah,
Sometimes it just, I get so amazed that someone in Vienna is looking at these shoes like every day.
Yeah, you look at your website statistics and you're like, what the heck is that?
It's always fun.
That's got to be a bot. I got an order from what?
It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. We live this is the best time to be alive ever, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way you can travel the world. Like we travel the world like Greek gods.
Yeah. I'm out all of next month. So
And you have
I'm,
all
like,
of the human knowledge in your hand.
Yes. I can't believe my phone is smarter than I am. Like I did
It's
not
not smarter
imagine
than
that.
you. Iman.
I'm pretty sure it is.
No, it's not. You're way smarter than it. Trust me. Trust me on that one. So, have we got through Meraki Design House? Or is there anything else you want to tell me about? Because I think it's fascinating.
I think
business.
you should come to one of our pop-ups.
I think I'm going to actually. Yeah, give me. You know what? We'll. When's your next one in Montreal? You said right.
Montreal next week.
When's the next one in the GTA area?
We're doing the health and wellness show at the Inner Care Center in October.
Okay.
So if you're into yoga and like a very chill vibe, like
I like power yoga. You ever do power yoga?
No, I've done hot yoga.
Power
I need
yoga
to
is
feel
like where
I
you.
need to have worked out.
Yeah, that's what power yoga is.
I haven't done it.
Power yoga is like
Check
where
it
you
out.
hold the positions. It's super hard, man. Holy mackerel, but I love it. It's a great. It's a totally
Should come
different
get
workout.
some free yoga classes at
Oh,
the
yeah?
show. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I've honestly.
What is it called? It's in October. What's it called there?
It's the Health and Wellness Show
Health
at
and
the Inner Care
Wellness.
Center. We've done a yoga show earlier this year, and honestly, it was the best vibe ever. Like everyone was so nice and peaceful and calm and grateful to just be there. Like it was a snowstorm that weekend, and I was stressing out. I was like, where is everyone? Like, why isn't it busy at this time? There's snow outside, like whatever. And everyone left and right was like, whoever's meant to be here will be here. And I was like, this is awesome.
I don't know if I could take that every weekend, but once in a while it's probably nice.
It was a good refresh.
Yes,
for sure.
For sure. What's the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance?
Yeah, so I've followed it for the last few years, only because I knew I'd never be cool enough to actually go on one of these. But
I think
then
you're pretty
I am
cool.
going.
What are you talking about?
It's that imposter syndrome.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
So
Imposter
then
syndrome. That's exactly what it is.
it.
Yeah, that's a good term.
It's a
actually, I've never
keyword
heard that, but
now.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. It describes exactly what it is.
So the G20. So you know what happened? So the G20, the G7 became the G20, and then in 2010, the government. Actually, it was the Canadian delegation that was talking about how the G20 countries have an aging population and they need to support more entrepreneurs and self-employed individuals, youth, to kind of create opportunities, create jobs. and be mobile in that process. So it was actually Canada that kind of started the Youth Entrepreneurs Alliance through Futurepreneur, and it's also a really great organization for any entrepreneurs who are looking for funding, mentorship. They have some cool contests as well, so great to check it out. And so they started the Youth Entrepreneurs Alliance, and it takes place every year around the same time as the G20 Leaders Summit. And what actually happens is there's a lot of conversation from entrepreneurs from the G20 countries about policy affecting youth entrepreneurs. And so last year, what they were working on was it was the working visa. So with that visa, you could work in any of the G20 countries.
So it was a universal visa for all 20.
It was a
awesome.
visa for the 20 countries.
Yeah,
it hasn't
cool.
come into effect yet, but that's what they're working on, because that's the mandate that they agreed on. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to have mobility for workers.
Wow.
And so I think that was really cool. This year the theme is the future of work. And it's going to be a couple of days of us, the delegation, kind of meeting, exploring the innovation culture in cluster in Argentina, and meeting other delegates from different parts of the world. So we're meeting the French delegation and some more. And then there's going to be 2 days of the summit, which is going to be conferences, seminars. We're going to be talking about our experiences. Other people are going to be talking about their experiences. And the end of the summit, we're going to have to come up with 3 things that we're going to work on for this year. And the coolest part is that, the government and the policymakers are accountable to the people, and they have a report that comes out the next year, the following year, in terms of what countries did what and what actions they took. And so it is the youth that actually, can make things happen faster by kind of holding their leaders accountable, holding the policymakers accountable. So that is what we're going to be doing.
So this goes on while the G20 conference is going on?
It happened this year. It's happening a little bit before the G20 Leaders Summit. Yeah. So basically at the G20 Leaders Summit, they will have the leaders will have a paper presented to them by the Youth Entrepreneurs Alliance about the 3-4 things that they want to work on for this year. And
then you're going to Argentina.
Yes, I'm going to Argentina.
Wow.
I'm super excited.
That's so awesome. So how long are you going for?
I am going for about 9 days.
You're going to go back a couple hours in Buenos Aires, right?
I was in Ecuador last year, and it was the same time zone.
Was it the same time?
Yeah, it was the same time.
Okay, but it's going to be fall. It's going to be spring there.
It's going to be spring, and apparently there's no rain in the spring there, so I'm super
cool.
excited.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds really, really, really fun. How many other delegates are going with you?
We're about 25.
From Canada?
From all over Canada. So they're all, honestly, I have done nothing. They are very, very cool, accomplished people. They have done a lot of cool things. What I'm most excited about is getting to learn from them and spending that 4 or 5 quality days and understanding their struggle, their experience, things that they've done, any advice. So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. What are the 3 things you think you're gonna have you sort of thought about what it is that you're gonna suggest or think about or take back with you?
So that's something that we kind of collectively work on based on the theme of the year. But when I was interested, my interest kind of started in the G20 YEA, the kind of the application and the interview process was focused on what do you want to see change in the policy that impacts youth entrepreneurs right now.
So what do you want to see
changed?
And
something that I spoke about a lot was the fact that there was no need blind assistance and support and financing for youth entrepreneurs. Need blind. So, need. Is it need blind? Is it university term? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, no, you're and you got the cameras on and the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's need based, not. Yeah, it's a need-based situation. So basically, I'll give you an example, and this is what I explained to them as well. So my father, I work with my father in our family business. We import and export and distribute food products from different parts of the world. Getting any funding from the government, getting grants for the government, and I'm the one who applies for all of them. it has been very easy. So getting export grants, getting grants to hire interns, getting grants to kind of support the, all the workforce that we have, anything comes very easy because we are a big team and we have like a certain revenue and we have these plans to export to these nice
You have
big
a proven
countries.
business model.
Yeah, exactly. And you've been around for like 6-7 years, so
Sure.
they want to give you the money. They're more than happy to give you the money. But then there's entrepreneurs, not just me. I'm really grateful that I have the support of my family.
Sure.
But there are other entrepreneurs who want to start something, who have really great ideas and would be able to execute them. And they have that need, but they do not have that proven business model. They don't have a workforce of 12 employees to kind of back them up, and like a $2 million, $3 million revenue to say, I'm at a good place to start where you can give me some funding, right? So kind of having some sort of a fund for these need-based applicants or entrepreneurs who want to just explore, who are not in school, because there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs who are still in school, but who are not in school, who are figuring it out, who have like a day job and they and they need to start something up. They have a great idea and they want that opportunity, that little push, that little kick that will kind of help them start their business.
Okay. I don't know if I'm sold on that idea.
I'm not selling a business.
I know. I'm just
but
thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. It's like, this is a conversation. So
Yes,
I'm thinking
yes,
about.
yes.
I'm thinking about what you're saying. Because I love entrepreneurs and I love entrepreneurship, and I think that it needs to be promoted to young people as a viable career choice.
Right.
And the younger, the better. Like as you get older, every year, I think it's something statistic, every year past the age of 30, your chances of becoming an entrepreneur go down, down, because you have a mortgage, you have a family, you have kids, these things start to come up in life,
Right.
and you become risk averse.
Right.
So, and that's not to say people don't take chances when they get older, but they're less likely to become entrepreneurs.
Right.
And so I'm an advocate for entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And I think that the entrepreneurial, I share the desire to share entrepreneurship with other people with you. I'm not sure that giving people money, the question is, how do you give it to the right people? And that's why the money's available to proven business models, right?
Right.
But I know so many guys that have worked for me over the years. I've been in business now for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And people have worked for me, and then they've gone to these whatever they call entrepreneurial hubs, and they get given money, and then it doesn't work out. And it's like,
but do you think if they had like that consistent mentorship and kind of
I don't think it has anything to do with mentorship,
or like some support, some sort of support to kind of execute their plans, do you think would that not help?
I think that's what non-entrepreneurs think it will help.
Well, you know what? I've seen
I'm not sure. I'm with you. I'm open to being convinced.
The thing is, I know that there is funding, but the funding goes to certain agendas, right? So right now, the government, like especially the government in Ontario, they're supporting smart cities, clean tech, agribusiness, and business with China. Lighting.
Lighting
Okay,
for
cool.
sure. Yeah.
That's good to know. And so
not starting up, but like they give incentives to people to do lighting for sure.
But what about like people who are not in these who are not interested in these particular streams, right? And then there is a lot of external funding available as well, but these are very heavily focused on like STEM based companies, right? Which is all great. That they have the ability to scale really fast.
Yes.
But with that said, like, what about other ideas, right? Like, I see a lot of work being done currently in the food recycling and reusing space. So, like, kind of mitigating the food wastage. So I know there's apps that kind of are selling food at like lower prices, so there isn't any wastage, or pay what you can grocery, and all sorts of things are coming up. But what about spaces and industries like that? What about ideas like that that are having some sort of an impact?
There's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. You know, it's like that's what Victor Hugo would say to that. You know, it's like when the time for an idea, like there's a position, an entrepreneurial position where you can say timing. I said timing to you earlier. There's an entrepreneurial position where you can say that something fails because the time for that has not come. It doesn't succeed or fail. See, if you have a really good, hot idea, there's people that will loan you money to do it.
Right.
You understand what I mean? The question, it's hard for the government to see. if the government, I don't think, here's my opinion, and that I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. Okay. What I'm saying is it's hard for the government to pick who to give the money to.
For sure.
Right. So when they say, first of all, I'm against the government giving anybody, any entrepreneurs money at all.
Oh, really?
I'm 100% against it. Grants, 100% against. Okay. And the reason why is because invariably there's going to be unfairness if you start giving out money.
Right.
Who gives out the money?
Right.
What are the parameters? And then you start introducing things like, well, we want to encourage entrepreneurship from this group of people or this group of people. And then it starts to get more and more and more complicated.
Yeah.
And then you have more and more non-entrepreneurs getting paid with money that's supposed to go to entrepreneurs. Like it grows
right.
like a I don't know how to put it. We need more First Nations entrepreneurs. And God bless them. I'm not against. We need more women entrepreneurs. We need more entrepreneurs that are minorities. How do we encourage all this? And it's almost like, why don't you back off and just reduce the taxes on entrepreneurs?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very discouraging as an entrepreneur so you lose money, you make money, and then you got to give so much of it to the government.
Right. I think perhaps then a better take on this would be not to directly, or not to, but to kind of funnel the funding to organizations that can better vet entrepreneurs and individuals and small businesses. And there's a lot of them. Because I've worked with them in the food space, where they encourage training these entrepreneurs. They encourage funding them for new ideas, getting their to market ideas, exporting their products, small things that would help them grow their business.
Yeah.
But they come from very specific focused organizations. The money still comes from the government because that's where that's where these organizations get their funding from. But they have a better grasp on what the person is doing, what they're going to be using it for, and they're helping them direct these people into how they can be using it effectively. Right? It's
funny because most of the entrepreneurs I know never received any government support until they didn't need it anymore. But did you understand what I just said?
Right.
Like when they were able to do whatever they wanted anyway, then the government said, sure, we'll support your entrepreneurship because we know we're going to get our money back, or we know it's a safe investment or whatever, right? It's tough. It's
always tough when it comes to money.
For sure. I mean, I would say that instead of giving away or allowing for grants or interest-free loans or stuff like this, okay? Because grants, I like loans better than grants,
right?
But then even loans become kind of
messy.
Become complicated. Yeah. I would say remove some of the barriers. Remove some of the barriers, like allow for people to succeed and keep their money for a couple of years without being taxed.
Right.
Prevent employees from suing entrepreneurs that have less than 20 employees.
Right.
Things like that are very destructive to entrepreneurship. Get rid of a lot. There's so much red tape. You know what I mean? There's so much red tape. The WSIB, these things.
Paperwork,
GST, this form, that form. Then the city of Toronto has a whole bunch of stuff you to fill out.
They want you to keep everything for years and years and
years.
Yeah,
and then you got to keep it. I have bankers boxes full of stuff. A whole two skid spots in my warehouse, which is worth $16 a month to store the paperwork for the government, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that if we could do anything, and I think it would be to remove the barriers to entrepreneurship, as opposed to try to pick the winners and then help them get through the paperwork. Because when you're talking about mentorship and that, what you're talking about is help getting through your HST return, help getting through your WSIB return, help filling out this. Oh, you're being sued by an employer. Here's an employment lawyer.
But also
right?
helping, being a voice of reason, because at the end of the day, a lot of entrepreneurs are very lonely in terms of if you don't have a partner, if you don't have a team, who is listening to your ideas? Your friends will tell you that everything is great or nothing is great. And,
for sure.
You need kind of that voice of reason. And if a mentor has if they have a vested interest or no vested interest, and they're there to support you, they will be honest with you and tell you
totally. A good mentor will just tell you what they think from their hearts. Eman.
Yes,
right?
Eman.
I know you pronounce it better than me, but it's like, hey, you got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
You got to do this.
I wish someone would tell me. I'm really glad my dad does.
Yes, but it's hard for a dad too.
Yeah, and I take it more personally when my dad does it. I feel like if someone else would do it,
it's tough. It's like the other thing too is mentors keep you from making those excuses. You know what I mean? Like your friends will always, I'm in a bad mood. Why this happened, that happened, and I understand. You're right. Your friends don't want to call you out.
Yeah, they'll
just
give you a
wanna
very
hang out.
simple explanation, but you can just do this instead.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's the
Or that
easiest
person
thing
is an asshole or whatever, right? Instead of saying, what are you talking about? They're just being honest with you or whatever, Or yeah, you do need to make your payroll or whatever it is, right? I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough at, going to the G20 and then it's like, how do we, because all those G20 countries, what they're hungry for, what they want is entrepreneurs in their societies.
Right.
That's what they want. And they're like, we can make manufacture entrepreneurs doing this. And it's like, if you got a bunch of entrepreneurs in the room, you turn around and say, no, you can't. Get the barriers out of the way.
Right. Well, that's what they did last year, right? So I'm not entirely sure what the outcome's going to be this year, but the visa-free travel for the G20 countries, I think that was one of the things that kept coming up again and again, that these entrepreneurs and they want to be able to do business in different countries, and they don't want to be restricted by visas and paperwork and any like issues that come with it, and they want to have that cross-border business. So a lot of it is also just promoting taking your business international. So a big part of what we're doing while we're down there is we're meeting up with local businesses and seeing how we can have those business relationships, how we can further our business in other countries and in Latin America.
I think those kinds of conversations are very, very important. And the reason why, and I like the idea of like the young entrepreneurs getting together and then coming up with a certain, like 3 points, you said it was? All the whole group is going to come with?
I think you end up with 3 points.
For the regular delegation to tell them. I think it's important for people to get together and not just on the internet, not just through and we're going to get to that, not just through social media, to actually sit with each other and discuss issues and come to a conclusion and take people's arguments seriously.
Right.
And then from, how many, 500,000 people are going? No, network. How many people are going to how many people are delegates overall? 25 from
20
each?
20 countries, 20 to 30 from each.
So you're going to have 500 to 1,000 people there. So you're going to have 500 people. They're going to be discussing ideas. They're going to be filtering ideas down. And
you're going to make a lot of like connections and networks in these
absolutely,
other countries,
yes.
which I think is very, very valuable. I've spoken to a few delegates who've been in the past couple of years, and they've been able to do a lot of international business through the connections that they met, right?
For sure.
And I think that's very important as well.
It's wonderful. But then I think it's also good to get those ideas to get that voice to the leaders that are in charge.
Right.
And say, here's how we can help. Whether or not, this idea is good or that idea is good, it's hard to say. I mean, I have my opinion, you have your opinion, everyone's kind of discussing it. I would have loved to do something like that when I was young. Holy mackerel.
Maybe you still fit in the age gap.
How old do you think I am? I get a whole bunch of different guesses.
Well, you have 3 daughters. They know whatever it is. Oh, you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
I know, maybe you're in your 40s.
Yeah, 41.
Okay.
So I'm not.
Missed it. I think they take up to 39.
39's not young entrepreneur. A young entrepreneur is 30 and under.
Younger.
30 and under, I think, would be young for me. But yeah, I mean, you know what? It's also, it's such a good thing to get people together like that, especially from so many different countries. That the G20. There's a lot of interesting countries in the G20 actually.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of interesting conversations to be had.
Sure, you get Japanese and Korean, and you're gonna have
and you get to see other people's business models. Like I've been forwarded the profiles of other delegates, and our profiles were just like a description about us, but we got another country's like slide deck, and there was like head count, revenue to date, like all of these other information, like all of this other information, and
like specific to their business.
Specifics to their business, and they want you to see like who's relevant for your business, so you can like kind of make that connection.
So you can plan to see who you want to chat with.
Yeah.
And those things are great because people always come to them open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're ready to
and
chat. And
everyone has that idea that they're there to make those connections, and they're there to network, and they've been in that spot, and they'll help you out.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. This is going to be one of the best trips of your life, I think. So why do you or don't you enjoy social media?
I never said I don't enjoy social media.
I said do you or don't you?
I do. Know, okay, so social media is very, very important, and it's been very important for our business as well. But I'm just not a fan of putting everything I do out there on social media. Like I've had a lot of friends, advisors, like people who work in that space tell me that, hey, if you want your business to do even better, you need to like sell yourself on social media. But I don't want people to know exactly what I'm doing at what I'm doing, where I am. Sometimes I just don't. I would love for people to know what I'm doing at the G20. I would love for people to see like.
I think it's important that people know what you're doing
exactly.
there. It's the other way around. I think it's very important.
The other parts, people like, the problem is that entrepreneurship also now has been glamorized a little bit. You see this nice jet
fetishized, I would say.
Yeah, basically.
Fetishized.
But no one sees like the harder parts where you're just sitting in front of a computer and like doing paperwork after paperwork after paperwork. Like no one wants to record that on social media. That's not fun. I mean, and that's what a lot of my days are. And I what is there to highlight in that?
You know what's interesting? So, the kind of posts you see are envy-based posts. Like, this is what a $21,000 first class plane ticket looks like. #blessed.
And that's the only thing people want to post then, right? Like that is your feed is filled with like one great thing in your life after another great thing after another.
I'm just balling all day long.
And I'm sitting on my desk looking at these posts and I'm like, okay, why don't I have the time to do these things? Like, what am I doing wrong? I don't know. I want to keep some things in my life private.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of people do social media very well that way. I think a lot of people do it very, very well. And actually, I haven't started yet, but I have to for this show. I have to do it all. Matt's on my case about it. Yeah. But it's like, I've read a couple people that there's I can't remember the guy's name. Matt was telling me about it, but he's very careful about taking pictures of his family and he keeps it to himself and this sort of thing. And there's ways to do it that are effective, but I think the problem for young entrepreneurs in social media, not for me, because I'm at the point I am in my life, I'm not sensitive. I'm not. I don't have. What was the word you used earlier? It was the imposter syndrome. There's also like a syndrome of feeling inferior, right? Like you're looking at that feed and you're like, oh gosh, I don't fly first class and. Or whatever, and this and that, or I don't drink that type of champagne or whatever it is. But there's an element for young people where social media generates a lot of envy.
I can see that.
And people are polishing themselves up online to be something other than what they are.
When you only see someone's highlight reel, like what is your expectation of reality after that? Like I engage in social media and it's done great for us. It's gotten us good press. It's sold a lot of shoes for me.
It's good publicity. Sure.
It really is. But it's not that I don't like social media. It's what I don't like linking and having to market myself on social media to promote my brand. As a person
yes,
to promote my brand.
I'm uncomfortable with that as well.
And that's where I want to keep my private life private. Like I don't want to be sitting taking videos. I also want to enjoy the moment. Like I've been at these events and at dinners and parties where and some people have to do it because it is their business or they're bloggers, and instead of enjoying what they're doing, they're taking 20 minutes to take that shot.
They're working.
And, just standing and getting dressed for the sake of getting dressed so that they can get that perfect shot for their perfect feed. And I don't want to live in that expectation with those expectations.
I'm with you 100%. There, Matt. No, but you know what? There's a part of it though is if you want to play that game, like if you want to play in that world, the podcasting world or whatever, hey, you know what? I've run these companies absolutely perfectly fine without that element of my life being involved in it. And I've been able to stay separate from it. If I want to be successful at this, well, that's a different conversation.
I think you are successful at this, but and this is funny that we're having this conversation today because today is the first day that I actually saw like this little downside of social media other than the obvious ones. So my partner, she sent me a screenshot of a Facebook profile using and the profile picture was a model that we had for one of the shoots, and
for the shoots for Meraki
the shoots, the photo shoots, and the description, her profile description was our Meraki About Us information, and the background photo was a bunch of like PR pages that we had like posted somewhere, and like this fake profile, I don't know what they're doing, I don't know what it's for, but things like that happen on social media as well. And the Meraki posts and photos and press info, that's all public information because we've put it out there. Imagine if someone is doing that with your personal information.
I don't know if there's I agree with you. I mean, it's there's a messiness to it that's there, that it's so you're saying this person captured the Meraki brand and used it for themselves.
They have like a fake name and like it's a fake profile. I don't really understand the purpose of it, but they're going around adding these people. I don't know what it's for. And we will take care of it, but I would not want my personal information. Like I wouldn't want my pictures to be in there on that fake account. So that's where I want to draw the line of, you know, being careful and marketing myself on social media and kind of staying away from people who do things like that.
Yeah, there's an element of I can see that, you know, I can see that you're a very reflective person. So that doesn't go well with social media, because the idea of posting something and forgetting about it, if you reflect on things, you're going to be like, oh, is that the right post? Did I put the right picture? Did I write it the right way? So like the reflective, preoccupied personality type doesn't like social media, because they always, if they do something, they want to make sure it's perfect, and they don't want to have to go back on it. Yeah. Right. And so there's that, and there's a lot of different situations going on with social media that make it tough. But hey, in 2018, if you want to play in some arenas.
Yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in my own way, though.
Okay. You should start a podcast. All right. Well, okay. Did we get through everything on here? I think we did. That Entrepreneurs Alliance is so exciting. I'm so jacked up for you.
You know what? They have, like, on the team, on the delegation, they have so many mentors, entrepreneurs who have experience, who are there really to coach the delegation. Sure. And maybe it's something you should look into.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Coaching people.
How many businesses have you had? Because I've
started 5 businesses, 1 failed.
Okay.
And this is this studio here.
Okay.
Is my 5th one, this podcast, and it's the one that's demanding my social media presence, and that we haven't even launched this show, the Get a Grip on Life podcast. Yeah. So I'm doing this to make money and to get my message out there, but primarily to make money and to send a message, and to, you know, I shouldn't say to do it to make money. Making money is a absolute necessity to keep it going. Otherwise, I can't pay for it on my personal income, right? It's not about. So
you don't love it that much.
No, it's about, like, if something is not paid for, by definition, it has no value. I hate to say that, but as an entrepreneur, if people aren't willing to pay for it, if advertisers aren't willing to pay for the content, then your message is more spiritual. It's more of a message and that's not what I am. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about entrepreneurs in life, right? So. You know, so yeah, I mean, I could probably help some entrepreneurs. I don't know. Maybe I should. So is there a mentorship application? Maybe I could get on at the last minute.
I should introduce you to a few people.
And head to Buenos Aires. I'd love to go.
Well, the next one is in Japan, which I think is as exciting, if not more. Sure. So. Yeah,
well, you know what? All those places are exciting when you think about them. Yeah. If you get into them, for sure. South Korea would be fun too. Yeah, so, you know, I really throw the Meraki website out there for the listeners.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you're not going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay. Yeah. So it's www.merakidesignhouse.com. So that's MERAKI designhouse.com. And you can obviously follow us on our socials. So that's also Meraki Design House.
Is that at Meraki Design House?
Yeah, like at.
All right, so follow them. Get yourself a pair of those super comfortable slippers.
Starting with you.
You know what? I got to come see them first. I'm gonna come see you at the Health and Wellness Show, I think.
Amazing.
For sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, awesome. iTunes, please go there right now. Review the show. Why? $50 gift card. I've said this so many times, over and over again. I hope by this time, because I did a lot of these on the same day, folks. A lot of these introductions. That's why I'm always wearing the same clothes. I don't wear the same shirt every day. Don't worry. I've said it a lot because I want to give away these gift cards because I want to get a lot of reviews going on iTunes. So I'd really appreciate, Matt and I have worked their butt off on the show. So we'd really appreciate if you guys could review us. Review the show, the Get a Grip on Life podcast on iTunes. Please go there, do that. And if Matt likes your review, he's got him up his sleeve. I don't know how many he's got left by this time, but he should. If I'm saying it in the intro, he's got some left for sure. And if he doesn't, I'm going to buy more. So, and then thank you to Eman Bachani for coming on the show. You know what? Hey, we need more people like you out there. The more entrepreneurs, especially. I mean, people get into female, male entrepreneur and all sorts of stuff. I mean, as much as I understand that there's issues to being a young entrepreneur and a female entrepreneur, look, we just need more entrepreneurs like Eman. I don't know. I don't want to character box her as a woman or whatever. She's exciting. She's trying new things. She's traveling the world. She's meeting other people. These are the things. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man or whatever. These are the things you got to do if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. So Eman's doing them, and I think that's great. So keep it up. Check out her website, check out her Instagram, and go to Meraki Design House. A lot of cool and unique stuff there. Eman, thanks for coming on the show. That was episode 17 of the Get a Grip on Life podcast.